Rise and shine, it's espresso time.
Good morning, Believe Nation. It's Evan. I am not a morning person, but here's what I know. When you start your day with a powerful routine that inspires you, it will change your life, like watching these videos. And in celebration of my recent one-on-one with Les Brown, get ready for a shot of espresso from our vaults with Les Brown.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning. It's not easy. It's hard changing your life. It was hard when just over 3 years ago, in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan, where I was operating my business, and I fell on some hard times, and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, "Excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment?" And I said, "Yes," and I walked up to the counter, and he gave me an envelope. And he said, "Would you mind reading it here?" And I opened the envelope, and the envelope was from management that said, "This is an office tower. It's not a hotel. Please do not sleep in your office." And I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now things are bad for me, but they're not going to be this way always. And I just asked for the opportunity to continue to operate like I'm doing. I'm not trying to make this my home." And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at him. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs on the 21st floor. He sleeps on the floor. Him and two other dreamers up there. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, "God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me?" It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream. It's very important as you hold on to that dream. There are moments when you're going to doubt yourself. There are rough times are going to come, but they have not come to stay. They have come to pass. It's very important for you to know that. Don't say I'm having a bad day. Say I'm having a character building day. It's very important for you to believe that you are the one to make this happen. I remember this high school teacher, Mr. Leroy Washington, at the end of school one June, it was just a few days before we were supposed to leave, and I just got my report card, and it indicated that I'd failed history, and I'd failed English, and I would have to go to summer school. And I was feeling within myself that I was a failure, that I'm slower than most people in getting paperwork. And I was feeling down on myself and very negative. And Mr. Washington was giving a speech to the graduating seniors, and I was in 11th grade. And even though I wasn't supposed to be in there, I went in there because the speech he was giving, that speech was for me. And as he talked, my heart began to beat fast. Tears began to run down my eyes, and I was in the back just listening to him because he said, and he was a very dramatic man. I still talk to him to this day. He said, as graduating seniors of Booker T. Washington High School, I want you to know that you're blessed and highly favored, and that as you go toward the future, begin to know that you have greatness within you. And if just one of you here begin to envision yourselves as being blessed and highly favored to reach your goals, if just one of you capture the essence of what that means, that you have greatness within you and a responsibility to manifest that greatness, that you can make your parents proud, you can make your school proud, you can touch millions of people's lives, and the world will never be the same again because you came this way. And the students gave him a rousing standing ovation. And as he left the auditorium, I ran down the steps and I caught him in the parking lot. I said, Mr. Washington? He said, yes. I said, do you remember me, sir? He said, no. I said, my name is Leslie Brown. My mother, she works in the cafeteria here. I'm one of the twins, Leslie and Wesley. I said, Mr. Washington, but you know, I got these big dreams. I like talking to people. I love people. I said, I want to work with people, and I got this dream of buying my mama a home. Could I do that, Mr. Washington? He said, it's possible, Mr. Brown. And as he walked away, I called him again. I said, Mr. Washington? He said, what do you want now? I said, I'm the one, sir. I said, I'm the one. You remember me, sir. I'm Miss Mamie Brown's boy. I'm the one. I'm the one.
What would the boldest version of you do? Think about your mission. Think about your goals. Think about what you are trying to accomplish. You've got what you're doing now, but think about what the boldest version of you, if you summoned the boldest version of you into existence right now, what would he or she tell you to do? So when I did my tour earlier this year, it was 90 days, 23 cities. And at first I wanted to do it for free. I love doing free coffee shop meetups every time I travel to a new city. And I told my agent, Steve in New York, hey man, this is my idea. He said, you need to charge for the event. You gotta play bigger. You gotta do a bolder version of you. And it's freaked me out. It scared me because I don't want to disappoint people. And the idea of charging for something and then me disappointing people and then hitting that fear every 4 days, because I got up in a new city every 3 to 4 days for 90 days, was me being able to conquer my fears. And so Steve pushed me, and I have Steve's voice in my head. It's like, you need to play bigger. You got to do something bolder. What's the next step? And so I'm looking at my next tour coming up in 2020 around my book, Built to Serve, and I'm trying to think, how do I make it even bigger? How do I make it even bolder? Because what I've done has been great. And it's not trying to take away from what I've done. It's amazing. I'm proud of myself. I'm grateful. Awesome. And I know I'm capable of more. And I know I need to do something at the next level, because if I want to go off and accomplish my mission, I need to. Because at the rate I'm going right now, I'm not going to hit 1 billion people. I'm not going to solve the world's biggest problem. I'm not going to have the impact and reach that I know I can have unless I demand more boldness, bigger scale from myself on a daily basis. And so for me, having Steve's voice in my head, having Elon Musk's voice in my head, having Steve Jobs and Ipa Giannini and my parents and Kanye West and Howard Schultz constantly in my head, the content that I make is for myself. It's selfish for myself, and then I share it with you guys, and thankfully you like it, so I could build a business around it and hire a team and keep creating more. What makes you bold? What makes you come alive? And how do you summon that creature on a daily basis? If you wake up and you daily, every day, consistently are bringing the boldest version of you, even for 1 year, if you woke up every day for 1 year and summoned the boldest version of you, your life is gonna look dramatically different 1 year from today. So how do you start playing a bigger game and being more bold? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think is gonna help. Step number 1, what would the boldest version of you do? Just asking that question. Just taking 5 minutes, sit down, grab your coffee, eat your breakfast, have no distractions, and just think about it for 5 minutes. What would the boldest version of you today do? What would you do? Look at your day ahead. Look at your plans. Look at what you've got up in your schedule today. If you were bold, if you summoned the boldest version of you today, what would you do differently? And then summon the strength and summon the courage and go do that thing. Step number 2 is think big and act small. Think big, act small. You have to think big because you're an entrepreneur. You've got big dreams, big ambitions. We want to change the world. You got an important mission, a vision that's driving you every day, right? I feel it. I'm connected to it too. I got a big vision that I never want to end. I want to chase it down for the rest of my life. But sometimes the big vision, yes, it is empowering and yes, it is inspiring, but sometimes it seems too big. Sometimes it seems impossible. Sometimes it seems like we're never going to do it without getting venture capital and partnerships and a huge team and all of these things. And then you stack it on top of each other and then you don't do anything because it's too big an idea that you can't do it alone. That's where you need to act small. Think big, big vision, but act small. Like what's the smallest, simplest, easiest thing that you can just do right now? It might be just picking up your phone and making a video. You want to have a YouTube channel? You want to build momentum? Create a video today, right now. And you won't know what you're talking about, and you won't have perfect audio, and you won't have the great lighting, and it will be garbage editing. Great. Because the biggest thing that's missing from you, from your mission actually happening, is momentum. You're a genius. You've got great ideas. That thing that's in here needs to be birthed, but there's no momentum. You're not doing enough on a daily basis to actually create that thing and get it out to the world. So think big, act small. And step number 3 is to understand that your bucket list is your excuse list. People walk around with a bucket list of things that they want to do before they die. The problem is you've given yourself until you die as your timeline. It's an excuse list. Look at what's on that bucket list. Everything on there is excuses. You've come up with stories as to why you can't do it. I just came back from speaking at Dean Graziosi's and Brendan Burchard's event in Phoenix, and there was a woman who was in front of me and said, hey, I've got dancing on my bucket list. She found out that I had owned Toronto Dance Salsa, and now dancing's on my bucket list. Like, don't say that. Your bucket list is your excuse list. And then she was taken aback, but then she looked down and she pulled up her dress a little bit, and you could see she had a broken foot or something wrong with one of her legs. I said, great. She's showing it to me as if, oh, now I'm supposed to understand your situation. That's why you can't go dancing. She showed it to me, and then I said, okay, can you march? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you march? She says, yeah, I can march, I can walk. Great, give me your hands. And I picked her up, and we started doing merengue. And I was doing all these turn patterns and making her move and turning around, and she had her first merengue dance. And then she realized, all I need is somebody to hold on to. I can dance, I just need somebody to hold on to. Don't wait until 5 years later, 10 years later, until you die for that bucket list to happen. Today, your bucket list is your excuse list. Stop telling yourself all the reasons why you can't do something, and if it was important enough to you, you'll chase it down. I'm passionate about this. I'm gonna tell you one more story. There was one guy, same event, who says getting to the top of whatever mountain is on his bucket list. But he doesn't have the money to do it, and he doesn't have the time to do it, and all this stuff. And he's doing all these little things instead of chasing down his one big goal. If he hit the top of the mountain, everything else in his life would change, would be different. He'll come back a different person, a different human. All the things that he thinks are so important to him right now will not be important when he comes back. These little projects that are distracting him from doing the big thing that he wants to do will disappear. He'll come back a new human with a whole different path ahead of him. You have to figure out a way to get to the top of that mountain. You have to figure out, look at your bucket list and recognize that's just a list of excuses you've got there. Pick the thing that you actually care about and go chase it down immediately. Now I've got some special bonus clips that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you just watch a video and you get motivated, the science says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to take some action. But when you watch a video, you get motivated, and you create a specific plan of action, that number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of you following through. And when you publicly commit to other people, like leaving a comment down in this video, your number jumps to 95% chance of you actually following through on the plan you set for yourself. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
Now, let me share something else with you, ladies and gentlemen. When you know within yourself that there's something you want to do, and I believe that all of us were born with a purpose, that all of us have something that we are supposed to do, that all of us have some goodness within us, and that goodness gives us a responsibility to manifest our greatness. And when you know that, you can feel it in your guts, and you know that you're deliberately operating below your potential, you've gotten comfortable, you stop expanding, you stop stretching, you stop challenging yourself. Let me share something else with you. Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, but it's necessary. It's necessary that you have it, that you work on it, that you develop yourself, that you go for what is yours in the universe. I have a friend that at the beginning of the year I was in Los Angeles giving a speech, and I do a seminar teaching people how to become involved in the speaking business, and also one called Speaking with Power, teaching people how to begin to develop their communication skills. And this friend, I said, I want you to work with me. I called her up. She said, Les, are you sure I can do it? Sure you can. You have a PhD in communications. I don't have that. If I can do it, sure you can do it. In fact, I'm going to give you the support that you need. Here's what I realize, ladies and gentlemen. We only have enough energy to take us to a certain level. But it's necessary that we assemble ourselves with other people who share our vision, other people that can see it for us, to give ourselves a home court advantage. So it's necessary that you seek out other people who think like you, who are growing, who have decided that they are not satisfied with where they are. See, I don't believe that necessity is the mother of invention. No, necessity, in my opinion, is not the mother of invention. Refusing to accept things the way that they are is the mother of invention. When you decide, I'm not going to settle for this, this is not going to be it for my life, I deserve more than this. See, that will start making you do some stuff. See, a lot of people go to work every day miserable, and all they do is just talk about how miserable they are. But they don't do anything about it. So I was telling her that I knew she hated her job with a passion. I said, you can do this. You got more going for you than I have going for me. And we've been going through this for years, ladies and gentlemen. She'd been to my seminar speaking for a living. She brought her husband, and that was one of the major problems that I realized that happened in her life. He couldn't see it for her. So you got to make sure that you have people in your life that can see it for you, that will encourage you. Non-affirming relationships can hurt you. And I talked to him. I said, you know, I don't have anything to do with your marriage. I said, you and I are good friends, and she and I are good friends. And I'm not taking sides. I said, but if you can't see it for her, don't tell her that. Just give her some support. What if you're wrong? It's possible, man, that if I'm doing it, she can do it. Well, you're different. How are you going to tell me that? You've seen her speak. She's got great speaking skills. Don't underestimate her. You don't know. You've got a great woman here. But you see, people who can't see it for themselves can't see it for you. He was happy. So I said, will you do it with me? I said, I'm going to give you the support you need. You can't do it by yourself. I will stand with you. She said, you will? I said, yes. I'm going to make you a part of my seminar. You'll do a part of it, and I'll do a part of it. Speaking with Power. She said, okay. 3 days later, ladies and gentlemen, I got an emergency call at my office. It was from my husband. He called and said, "Tell Les Brown that Marion is dead." I said, "Oh no." When I was flying there to go to the funeral, and I remember the last time that I saw her, and I had some of her papers that I had gotten inadvertently confused with mine, and I took them home. And I was searching through these papers to do one of her works. She was a prolific writer. And what got me, what was so sad that made me begin to cry, was that there were poems that she had started that were profound poems, great thoughts that she didn't complete. Plays that she had started that she didn't complete. See, that poem was given to her. I can't finish that for her, nor can you. That play, whatever the outcome that she had envisioned, that she had imagined, was given to her. Only her. And she's the channel that was going to come through. You are here, and you are the vessel, you are the outlet for the universe. That you've been selected. There's something for you to do. I believe all of us have some purpose for being here. And as I was going to the funeral, and I was reading a newspaper that said that millions of people are dying because of what they're eating, talking about their diet. And I'm sure that it was Marion talking to me, whispering, saying, "Les, the next time you speak, say that even more are dying because of what's eating them." When the challenges of life come your way, you've got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't, you're bombarded with negative stuff every day that beats you down, and you will find yourself unconsciously engaged in self-destructive behavior. If you don't program yourself, life will program you. So you want to have an agenda for your life. It's necessary that you have some direction for your life. A friend at the National Speakers Convention gave us a presentation, and it really struck me. He was talking about when he was traveling across Europe, Warren Gresham, and he said at different points, soldiers would wake them up on their journey and ask him the question. And I posed this to you. The question was, where have you been? Why are you here? And where are you going? And that's what I ask you. Where have you been? Where have you been up to this point? You look at your life. You look at what you produce. Is it giving you what you want? Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas? Are you doing all you can do? Have you gotten comfortable? Are you procrastinating? Are you evading your own greatness? Are you surrounding yourself with people that can nourish you? Are you challenging yourself? Are you experimenting? Are you learning something different? Is your life an adventure, or is it boring? Where have you been? Why are you here? What brought you here? Investing the time, the money. What brought you here? And where are you going? What is it that you can get out of this session, out of this lecture? That when you leave here, rather than this just being a spectator event, that you got some idea, some dream, that you might have to go back and brush it off and look at it again and say, I've got to do this. This is my stuff. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is why I showed up. Where are you going with your life? What decisions are you making right now as you look into the future? Are you experimenting to find out what other talents and abilities that you have? See, we're in a time right now. The day is gone where you could just go to college and get out and get a job and work 30 or 40 years with job security and retire with a gold watch. The gold watch days are gone. Brand new day. Party's over. So now you have got to be multi-talented and multi-skilled. You've got to use all your stuff. You don't know what else you can do. I didn't know I can do what I'm doing right now. It's necessary that you stretch and challenge yourself and say, let me see. I started out as a trainer. I'm a trainer. That's what I am. That's what my expertise was in. And then I decided, let me see, can I speak? And then I discovered, hey, I can do that. What if I hadn't tried to do that and just been satisfied with just being a trainer, with a limited vision of myself? And then after training, and then I said, well, maybe I can go into business for myself. And I started speaking, going into business for myself. Well, maybe I could train other speakers and teach them how to go into business for themselves. See, you want to have a backup plan. You want to have other strategies for yourself. In case this doesn't work out, You got something else going over here. You don't want to ever put yourself in a situation where you have a limited vision and you're only using a limited amount of your talents, of your skills, and of your abilities. And I'm saying to you, it's possible you've got some talents, some ideas in you, your ability to do some stuff that you haven't even discovered yet. And I'm suggesting that it's necessary that you get outside of your comfort zone. It's necessary that you develop some new relationships where you can learn from people. It's necessary that you do reading, that you do research. It's necessary, if you're already involved in some business, that you don't be satisfied with where you are. If you want to make it today, it's necessary for you to constantly look at ways of getting better. Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, and it's necessary for you to challenge yourself to go after it and get better and leverage relationships that can help you get to where you want to go, but it's you. The major key to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you. If the economy is good, fantastic. If the banks are loaning money, that's great. If people are positive, that's great. You don't have any opposition, that's great. But the major key to your making things happen in your life is you. When I wanted to get on public television, you know, they told me, you can't do that. So wait a minute, I've seen these other people on. It's possible I can get on. Leo Biscaya, John Bradshaw, it's possible. Excuse me, hold on, time out. Let's be realistic. Come on, be logical. I said, well, wait a minute, why can't I do it? Let's look here. Think about guys who have credentials, all kind of credentials. You don't have any college training. They're not going to put you on television. Give me a break. I said, thank you for that. God love you, and I'm trying. And went on about my business, you hear me? Let me tell you something. What people think about you and the possibilities for your dream is none of your business. That's their business. They have no imagination, ladies and gentlemen. They're living out of the past, out of their memory. Their attitude is it can't be done because they haven't seen it. They're judging according to appearances. The people that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination. So I went to the next mode, necessary to start talking to people and seeking and asking for what I wanted and leveraging relationships and trying to find out how do the people do it that went ahead of me? How do they do it? And then what is it I need to do? How is it I need to train myself, to develop myself? What's the resources that will be required in order to make it happen? And as I start seeking out and asking questions, I started running into people who said, I know someone who can help you do that. And they helped me get connected with those people. Remember, we have so much energy that can take us so far. It's necessary that you hook up with some other energy that can take you to the next level. I hooked up with them. They said, let's go. I said, away we go. And guess what? Here we are. I love it. You want your stuff? It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you don't take any objection or disappointment or defeats personally, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. And here's something you've got to resolve. Say this to yourself every day. See, as long as you're breathing, you got a shot at your dream. That's the way I resolve. Say this, please. It's not over until I win. You got that right. It's not over till I win. Not over till I get through. It's not over till I get over. Not over till I get what I want. Door can't open today, look out. I'm going to come back and take the hinges off. That's how you got to do that. You've got to have that kind of courage, that type of determination. If you want to make it happen, it's you. That you've got to take personal responsibility to make it happen. That you have got to own what it is that you want to do. If it's taking care of your well-being, if it's making a difference in our school system, if it's working with senior citizens, if it's to protect our ecology, if it's to create an economic renaissance, if it's just to take yourself to another level, it's you. You've got to make that happen. We can point out many things that can make it inconvenient or can slow us down, but ultimately, it's on us. Next step is, not only is it possible and necessary, and it's you to live your dream, to make this greatness that you have within you become a reality, but what I've come to appreciate when you're working on changing your life, changing some bad habit, getting out of addictive situations or relationships, or working to build a dream or making a difference in our society, or learning something that's very challenging. Here's what I realize, ladies and gentlemen, and develop a great deal of respect for. It's hard. Easy is not an option. It's hard living. Life is hard. See, it's hard when you are 49 years old, been working on a job for 17 years, and they come in and tell you you're finished and give you 1 week severance pay. And you got to start all over again. It's hard when you're married and raising children and your children are crawling and your husband dies unexpectedly. It's hard handling just the tragedies of life. It's hard when you're working on something and you put everything you have in it and it doesn't work out. You lose your money and other people's money. It's hard. It was rough when I lost my job and I could not find a job. It was humiliating and embarrassing, borrowing money, and then I couldn't pay the money back when I told them I would. That's rough. How people look at you, how they respond to you. It's very hard. It's humiliating. Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it, you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. Have it ever happened to you? Raise your hand. Has it ever happened to you that I couldn't understand it then, but after I got through it, then I saw that was preparing me for bigger and better things. That as you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender and say, okay, all right, I cooperate, okay, I learned, okay. It had to wear me out a long time. So if it's hard, then do it hard. Now, how do you hang in there during the hard, difficult times, Les? You must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That it's not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. In the Far East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. And when they go through a process of growing it, they have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. Okay? But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years. Because at any time had that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people are going to do you? So how long you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dreams? And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show? People are going to do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop. Because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. They said, look. Whoa, look here. Look how. Hey, man, you know, I know you can do it. Look here, you got a job here? See, during those hard times, we didn't know how you're going to make payroll. During those times when you fail and things didn't work out, they were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. And people know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard. Now that takes us to the next level. If it's hard, why do people do it? You ask people who do things. Why do they go it? People who climb mountains just for the sake of it. Nobody paying them to do it. Just do it. Somebody said, I'm going to run around the world. He said, well, why would somebody want to do that? I'm going to swim the Atlantic Channel. Why? Why do people do that? I wondered, why would a Nelson Mandela give up 26 years of his life? Why do people do that? Here's what I discovered in high school. High school, I decided I wanted to go out for football. Never forget this. And I discovered why people do things. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Even though it's hard, it's worth it. It's worth it. See, one day we had Coach Alkin Hepburn had this plaque down there. And this wood on the floor, on the ground. He said, Brown, come over here. Had my suit on. I said, yes, sir. He said, I'm going to have old Larry Littles down there. Old big Larry. Yes, sir. Big, fat, sorry Larry. Yes, sir. Brown, I want you to get down bull neck. Yes, sir. He said, I want you to run at Larry. I want you to put your helmet right in his pit, right up and hit his chest, and knock him off that board. You hear me, Brown? You can do that. Yes, sir. Can you do that? Yes, sir. I said, hubba, hubba. I said, hubba, hubba. He said, Brown, I want you to knock him off. You're going to make the team. I know you can get him, all right? Look at him, how sorry he is. Knees knocking and everything. I said, yes, sir. Then he went down to Larry. Larry Littles, who played 12 years for the Miami Dolphins, all pro for 12 years. This is a bad, big dude. 250 pounds, strength, agile, and all muscle. He said, Larry, He said, man, you know Brown down there. He's down there talking about your mom and everything. He talked about how fat and sorry you are and how he's going to knock you off this board. Larry now spitting fire and growling and foaming at the mouth. And I'm looking at Larry saying, oh, hubba, hubba. He said, look at that fool down there growling. He told me he's going to scare you, that you're going to leave. Are you going to leave? No, coach, I ain't going to leave. Go down there and knock him out the park. Boy, coach got back. He winked at me. Go get him, Brown. I went hard. I ran into Larry with my helmet. Larry said, boom. I don't know where I landed. When they woke me up, I said, can y'all take this helmet off me for a minute? I said, y'all got any more positions out here? They said, like where? I said, don't y'all need an announcer? They said, Brian, where you going? I was crying. They said, man, some girls over there. I said, I don't care, man, I'm hurt. So that fool almost killed me, man. He said, Brian, you quit, man? I said, yeah. I said, what? I said, it ain't worth it, man. No, it ain't worth it. Y'all go ahead. Y'all crazy. I'll be your announcer, man. I was calling the game. I was up there in the booth. Call good games, too, because the pain wasn't worth it to me. And I'm saying to you, you know why people do what they do? The people who go after their stuff, what makes it worth it? It's got to be your passion. You got to love it, ladies and gentlemen. You got to love it. It's got to be what you are supposed to do. You want to sing, and even though they want to invite you to Carnegie Hall, you're going to sing to anybody that listens to you, including singing to yourself. I used to talk to my plants when nobody else would listen to me. You got to write, even if no one published your book, write, because that was given to you to do. You do what it is you're supposed to. You're supposed to build something. You're supposed to create something. I don't know how to do it. Learn. Do whatever is required. Just go out there. It's possible you can get what you want. It's necessary. If you want it, you got to go into action. You got to be willing to experiment. You got to be willing to fail and to succeed. You got to be willing to form and to develop new relationships. It's you, it's on you. You got to make that happen. Nobody's going to bring it to you on a silver platter and say, here's your dream manifested. No, it's hard. Yes, it's hard. It's difficult. Yes, right. And it's worth it. People ask, hey, man, these kids, man, it's rough dealing with them. That's right. That's right. You think peer pressure happened overnight? We went through peer pressure. I remember as a kid, some guys said, hey, Les, me and another fellow named Willie Lower, we were going home. Hey, man, we're going down to Goulds, man, and knock off a grocery store. I said, look here, I don't want no part of that. I'll see y'all later. Say, y'all chicken. I said, that's all right, you say whatever you want. Low star. I'm not chicken, man. Don't call me chicken. Then why don't you come? We didn't even ask you to come into place, man. All you do is just drive the car, that's all. I don't know how to drive that good. Well, we're trying to get Les to come. He's chicken. Hey, I'm not driving nothing, all right? Willie, don't care about what they say, man. Leave him alone. You want to go do it? You find somebody else to drive, or you drive yourself. Come on, Willie, man. Pull him. He stopped. I ain't chicken. All I got to do is drive? Yeah. I said, Willie, that sounds simple, man. Don't go, man. He went. And the next day we read the newspaper where when they robbed the store, when they came out running to a car, the merchant, the man who owned the store, came out just shooting wildly, and he hit the driver in the head. So peer pressure didn't just start in the 90s or the 80s. It's difficult and it's challenging for kids right now. And it's going to take some easy, simple methods to help bring them out of this madness, this insanity? No. Is it hard? Yes. Let's look at what we've been doing. What has worked? What has not worked? Let's look at where we want to go. What is it that we want to produce? What is it that we want to create for our young people? And as we think about that, start experimenting with different methods and techniques to create and to produce that. And begin to believe that it's possible through our commitment, through our vision, through our determination, our relentlessness. Because of our belief, it's possible that we can reduce the teenage homicide rate. the teenage pregnancy rate, the dropout rate, that it's possible, looking at what kind of world are they going to be in. As we look at the global economy, that as we begin to use our collective will and genius and resources, it's possible that we can create an educational system that not only will test their minds with information and facts and figures, but will teach them how to think and be creative, and what does it mean to be a human being and to value human life, and how do you make relationships work? How do you bounce back from adversity? It's possible that we can give them a curriculum that will give their lives a sense of purpose and direction and meaning, and teach them how to begin to know and operate on a higher level of being, where they become assets to our society rather than liabilities. What if we leave here with that kind of consciousness that it's possible, as opposed to saying we have to write this generation off, that it's possible that we were born for such a time as this and that, that maybe someone here has the idea or the method or some plan of action or an approach that can resolve many of the problems that we're facing with young people today. Whatever we have to do to save our children, it's worth it. And so that brings me to the final step, that it's necessary for us to begin to look at the future and know that it's possible that we can have our dream. Yes, it is. Other people have done it, then we can do it. We fail a lot of times. Well, a lot of other folks fail, and eventually they came back and they succeeded. So it's possible we can have what we want. And we know that we want to get it. It's necessary that we align ourselves with people that think like we do. It's necessary we get negative, do-nothing people out of our lives. It's necessary we never stop learning and growing and developing ourselves. It's necessary that we never give up. We know that it's you, it's me. It's being responsible for our stuff and deciding that we're going to keep on keeping on, and that we're going to find a way to win or find a way to make it happen. And we know it's hard. It's not going to be a picnic. Yes, it's hard, and we will do it hard. And once we do it hard and we go through it, we realize it was worth it. And once you discover it was worth it, it is done. It's done. It's done, ladies and gentlemen, before it happens. Well, here's what I'm suggesting to you. That when you're working, you have a wall to break through. Let's say a friend of mine who runs a marathon, and he says, when he's running the 26-mile marathon, he said, let's say that hypothetically, that 18th mile is the wall. He said, Les, when you get there and you're running, he says, everything in you is telling you to stop, to give up. Every muscle is aching, and you're saying to yourself, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you just keep on, and you keep on, and you keep on. It seems like you're moving at slow motion. And then eventually when you break through that 18-mile wall, then you know it's like done, and you're on automatic, and you glide on in, and you know it's there. You know you're going to get to the finish line. And we've all had experiences where we were working on something, and we knew it was possible. And we did those things that were necessary to bring it into reality. We took the responsibility to make it happen. Other people couldn't see it. A lot of people didn't believe it. You were attacked. You were criticized. People were opposing you, but you kept on doing it. It was hard. It was rough. It was difficult. But to you, it was worth it. And eventually you got to a level you know, can nothing stop me now. I'm on the move. I'm on the move. Finally, I'm thinking about a friend of mine who is no longer operating on this dimension. His name is Jack Boland. He had this vision of a church that would serve various types of needs for people, their supportive needs, and helping them in recovery from drugs and alcohol and whatever addictions that they might be involved in. And he was known for bringing in different kinds of speakers. And over a year ago, he was diagnosed as having cancer, and he announced to his congregation that he's going to be taking chemotherapy, and that it was a possibility that the cancer would go in remission, and he was optimistic about that. And sure enough, it did for a year. And one of the things Jack always talked about is that he wanted to have his funeral while he lived. And so he invited a few friends, Wayne Dyer and myself and a few other speakers, He didn't tell us why we were there, but once we gathered there, the church, they told us in the room that Jack is going to announce to the congregation, he's bringing his doctor up. The doctor is going to say that we felt we could keep it in remission. It's out of remission, and he doesn't have much time left. And whatever words you want to say to Jack that you would say if he had made his transition, speak those words now. Well, we were shocked and we were somewhat stunned until Jack got there. They brought him in a wheelchair, and boy, was he courageous, and he had a strong smile, and they helped him up the steps, and he sat behind the podium, and each of us got up and we said a few things about Jack and the impact that he made on our lives. And he said, the doctor, after announcing that Jack didn't have long, he says, "Doctor," he said, "I accept what you say, but it's possible that does not have to be the case. But if it is, I will enjoy life to the very last breath I take, even the chemotherapy. I will enjoy that." And Jack did, ladies and gentlemen. And when they said that all of his vital organs were failing, they called his family and his close church staff to the hospital and said, "He's dying." And so they came and they all gathered in the room. And Jack at that time was unconscious. And he gained consciousness, and he looked at them and he said, with what strength he had, he said, "I want to thank you all for being here. You've been a great staff to me." He looked at his sons, his daughter. He said, "You've been a great family." He said, "Don't feel sorry for me." He said, I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to the next adventure." And he sat there for a little while, laid there, and he closed his eyes, and he lost consciousness. About an hour and a half later, he opened his eyes, and he looked at them. He said, "This is embarrassing. I'm not dead yet." They were laughing through their tears. They said, "Jack, you are a character." He said, "Hey, I hate giving up this kind of control." So they predicted that Jack would die at the end of February. And then on the 2nd, they said, he won't see the light of day. He will be dead by morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack died on March 4th. And we believe that even in his dying, Jack sent his congregation a message that I want to give to you with his permission. March 4th is the day he died, and we believe Jack was saying, "March 4th." So I say, as you look into the future, while other people are giving up, feeling like victims, feeling powerless, becoming negative, turning on each other rather than to each other, feeling that they can't make it, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind with the mindset of that it's possible that we can save this generation. It's possible that we can create new industries, a new economy. It's possible that I can find a new profession, a new job. It's possible I can create a new life. And it's necessary that I become actively involved in becoming a positive force in my life and on the planet. And it's me, yes, it's you, it's all of us, pulling together, working together to create this brand new future. And it's going to be hard. Easy is not an option. But if it's hard, we will do it hard. Whatever is required to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. And it's worth it. Yes, it's worth whatever we have to do. And once we know that, it is done. It is done. It is done. It is done.
Today, in order for us to make it, even before the coronavirus, the suicide rate in America had increased by 32%. Today, in order for us to make it, we have to create what we're doing now, collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. One of the major issues we're facing right now is loneliness. And one of the major determinants of a long life, I thought it would be plant-based diet or becoming a vegetarian or a vegan or exercise. It's positive social relationships. That's the main factor. I have a son who suffers from a mental illness, bipolar. Mm-hmm. And many times, like during this period in the last few months, he has decided he don't want to take his medication. I don't care how old your kids become. He's 35. They're always your children. So not only does it keep me up at night, but it keeps me singing a song. You about to make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. You about to make me act a fool up in here. I remember one night somebody called me and say, "Are you on Facebook?" I said, "No." Go to your son's Facebook, and he on there saying, "I spent more money on marijuana than I have on self-development. I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's grandson." Let me tell you something. I needed some weed after watching him. So, the Book of Life said, "Think it not strange that you're faced in fiery furnaces in this world." It has been a humbling experience that I've been able to motivate and inspire young men around the world. And my son looked like I had him by myself, that I can't reach him. And so I have learned, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. I can't change him. The courage to change the things that I can. I can change how I react, how I respond, and the courage to know the difference. And so I've learned to discipline myself to let go and let God. And once letting go, don't go back to God and get it. Just give it to Him.
Yes.
That our kids come through us, but they come from God. And learn to surrender. Life is about surrendering and releasing. And I've learned the discipline to do that. But it hasn't been easy.
How can people that are listening to this now, especially if they're an adult that's got all those labels put on them, that's had their creativity squished, what process do they do to hear the voice? What sort of communion can they do to create that imagination that's going to allow them to get out of that and move towards something new?
That's the reason why you designed this program, you and your team, for them to do that they have to expose themselves to something that will give them a different vision of themselves. And in addition to that, they have to put themselves in a community of what I call OQP, only quality people. A gentleman who dramatically transformed my life, I was a junior at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami, Florida, and I went in his class looking for another friend, and he said, "Go to the board and work this problem out for me." I said, "Sir, I can't do that." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "Do it anyhow." And the other kids started laughing, saying, "He's Leslie, he's DT." And he said, "What's DT?" His brother is smart, but he's the dumb twin. And I said, "I am, sir." And he came from behind his desk and he pointed at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And he taught me three things. He said, if you want to become successful in life, young man, he said, number one, you got to change your mindset. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number two, practice OQP. Only quality people. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. I found that out. I left all my broke friends. I say, y'all gotta go. Because I used to be so broke, I'd pass a bank and trip the alarm, And the third thing he said, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. He said, those are three major things that you want to work on that will liberate you from living in Liberty City, living in poverty in Overtown. It will help to escape out of where you are right now, because I see you watching me and I know you want more. I can see the hunger in your eyes. That's why my book is about to come out called You Gotta Be Hungry. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. Give you an example. 27 years ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
27 years ago. My gosh.
Yeah, fourth stage cancer. And fourth stage prostate cancer. My PSA was 2,400. And so Dr. Alfred Golson said, Mr. Brown, you have fourth stage cancer. I said, I do? He said, yes. And it's metastasized to 7 areas of your body and it's eaten 43% of your T1 vertebrae. I said, whoa. He said, what? Why are you smiling? Did you hear what I just said? I said, yeah. He said, why are you smiling? I said, man, 7 is my lucky number. I was born February the 17th. Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times. Naaman dipped himself in the River Jordan 7 times. 7 is my lucky number. He looked at his nurse and said, this is a strange one. So I said, can you give me a second opinion? He said, yes. And you're ugly too. You just called me ugly. You didn't go there. You're ugly. He said, but you got this. You got this. I don't tell patients that they're terminally ill. What I say is my knowledge and my ability and my skills have terminated. Now you and God figure this out. He determines the prognosis. You got this. And as a result, how people live their lives, as you know, is a result of the story they believe about themselves. He interrupted my story, and I left there with a heart full of faith, not a heart full of fear. Zig said, most people in a fearful situation, they forget everything and run. But there are a small number, the road to life is straight and narrow, a few there be that find it, who face everything and ride.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.